What do you do?
There's a chat. Isn't there a chat?
I wrote that. And then you have to click something to say you want to do it, right? Everyone,
Where'd it-
file.
Hey, Raina, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
What's happening?
Not too much.
I think it's the first town board meeting I've ever come to virtually.
Congratulations.
Are you in the office? Oh man.
I am.
Where's it there?
Keep work life, home life separate.
That's what you.
No, it didn't sign me up.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi. So it's Terry and Mark, right?
Yes, Ashley. How do you sign up for public be heard? You go to
I
chat?
I
Yep.
put you down. You don't have to worry about it.
Oh, thank you
I
so
remember the email you said you wanted to have it.
Okay.
I'll mute myself.
Yeah, we're going to ask everybody to mute themselves when they come in. That way it doesn't get too noisy or disruptive. Hello, Tamara. How are you?
Hi, Lauren. That's all. I'll go by.
Did you bring the puppies, Lauren?
They're around. Not sure exactly where. Makes me a little nervous, but they'll show up. Probably with half of one of my shoes.
The chewing phase.
Yeah.
I think all board meetings should consist of having puppies.
Oh, without a doubt.
Kittens will do, puppies will do, but small animals make any elected body much easier to take.
Oh, sure. Actually, piglets are kind of cute till they get to be more than like 35 pounds.
Piglets?
Piglets, yeah.
Oh.
When you get piglets, I used to raise my own pigs, my own meat, and you get piglets, they're these cute little guys. And they're just, and you think, wow, geez, I'm gonna have trouble with this, but you raise them for 6-8 months, you're ready to kill them.
Cute little eyes from something that you want to eat. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's the way life works.
Yep.
So,
Oh, you just lost half the vegetarians.
Flavorful.
that's why they made divorce attorneys.
Hi, Linda. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Urena. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I
Hi,
am good.
Richard.
Hey, Urena.
I
I
feel
see
like
you got
it's like a gathering. I haven't seen all you people
I
together
love your background.
for so long. Oh, it's a photo I took.
It's beautiful. Oh,
Thank you.
be careful. You almost fell off the mountain.
Yeah. It's the Xena. I've got it for all seasons.
Off the Xena.
The Xena
cornfields?
cornfield. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Hey, Nick. Hi, Maria. Hi, Linda.
So we're almost at 7 o'clock. Is the whole board here yet? Let's see, who are we missing?
Reggie?
Reggie
Laura
and
here?
Laura.
Go dark.
Question was who are we missing, not who's not here, right?
Oh, excuse me.
Who's not here? Yes. Do you see Reggie or Laura coming in, Ashley?
No, not yet. Reggie did just call me because he got 2 links and he was confirming which one it was. So he should be in shortly.
Okay. There's the chief. Definitely mute him.
Oh boy. Get me out there. You got me muscled.
Hello, Mr. Chief. Hello, everybody. I'm Ruben.
Hello, Ruben.
Hello, Ruben.
Here would wake up. What's
Here
next?
comes Laura, and we should have all the board members.
You got Reggie?
I'm here.
Hey, Reg.
Hi, folks.
Hello, Reggie.
Hi.
Where he is.
I'm here. I joined.
There he is.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Laura.
Okay. So I am going to call the March 9th, 2020 meeting of the Woodstock Town Board to order. A quick announcement, public be heard. If you enter your name in the chat, we do have up to 5 people talk for 2 minutes apiece. I know we've got a couple already. So if you are interested, send a note to the chat room and Ashley will add 2 more folks if anyone's interested.
Bill? Bill?
Yeah.
I'd like to think about, depends on how the rest of the board feels, but we know we got a big discussion coming tonight and maybe we should move it up and not wait to the end.
You know what? We're going to go right through the resolutions real quick. I'd rather get those done.
Okay, as long as it's going to be quick. I don't,
Reggie, how long is your discussion going to be?
I think it's going to be.
Okay, let me jump right to the resolutions then and get them out of the way, and then we can do the police reform, which was on the agenda, and then we can move right to the moratorium discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Whereas Woodstock Resolution 62-2021 authorized the transfer from the Highway Equipment Capital Reserve type fund pursuant to permissive referendum, and whereas the time to file and execute such permissive referendum has expired now, therefore be it resolved to transfer from the Highway Equipment Capital Reserve Fund not to exceed $200,000 for the following: a T770 Bobcat compact truck loader, 10,515 pounds. Not sure why that was critical. The price being $64,031.15, and the following attachments for Bobcat: 1, an angle broom, $4,646.64, an SGX 60 stump grinder for $7,308, an 80-inch heavy-duty bucket with bolt-on edge for $1,408.72, a 40-inch planer high flow for $21,295.96, high flow with a high flow option included and a backup camera included, and a used Pelican sweeper from the town of Warrensburg, shared purchase with the town of Ulster and the town of Hurley for up to $25,000 each. Used or new 3,500 heavy-duty dual-wheel pickup truck with mechanics body for $65,000, and the new Viking PRR 1142 HSE snowplow for $11,309.53.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to attach the be it resolved to adopt the attached fund balance. So we talked about this. I know I've talked about this with a couple of you in the last couple of weeks. This basically codifies the policy we've been following for years now, started by Jeremy a number of years ago, about our reserve funds and how much percentage-wise we would keep in the different reserve funds. Any questions on that?
Nope, all questions answered. Thank you.
Did I get a second for that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Whereas 15 Rock City Road, Inc., AKA Deadbeats LLC, 15 Rock City Road, Woodstock, New York, 12498 is in compliance with the Alcohol Beverage Control Law, Section 64, Subdivision 2A, and has notified this municipality of their intent to file application with the liquor license for a liquor license with the New York State Liquor Authority. And whereas this property is currently in compliance with all local laws and does not have any violations at this time, therefore be it resolved to waive in this instance the 30-day period to renew said application, to review said application and consent to the issuing of a liquor license to the above named applicants.
Second with a question.
Mhm.
Richard's got it.
Why'd they name it after Mr. Rose?
Well, it is BEETS.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Excuse me, Lauren, I didn't mean to.
You know, I'm so deeply offended. I can't continue with this meeting.
All in
Bye-bye,
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to set the annual salary for Scott Bonesteel as acting highway superintendent for the year 2021 at $72,605 prorated.
I'll second that. We're lucky to have him.
Yes, couldn't agree more. And I'm proud to be on the petitioning ballot with him. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Whereas the town of Woodstock, whereas the town of Woodstock's contract with Auctions International is a 2-year contract and has expired in February 27, 2021. And whereas the highway department would like to continue using their services, therefore be it resolved to allow the highway superintendent to sign a new 2-year contract with Auctions International for the same terms and conditions as the previous contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to appoint Stephen Pittleman to, actually, I should say reappoint Stephen Pittleman to the Board of Assessment Reviews, BAR, term to expire September 30th, 2025. Stephen's been on for a couple of terms now and does an excellent job.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to accept the resignation of Chris Maragudakis as a full-time laborer in the Water Sewer Department effective March 11th, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to accept the resignation of Dylan Jocelyn Peters as full-time police officer effective March 12th, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to hire Phil Sinagra as full-time temporary police officer for up to 90 days effective March 13th, 2021 at a rate of $25.40 per hour.
Second.
And this will give us opportunity, you know, with the pandemic and whatnot, the full-time list is a little thin right now, but there are a couple of folks who are going to be becoming available. So this will get us over a short-term hump to keep the overtime down and reasonable and allow us time to build up that list of candidates. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be resolved to hire Mike Reynolds as grade 5 HMEO/mechanic at a rate of $26.33 effective March 8th, 2021.
Second.
You think he's worth the money?
You know, that's debatable. We'll have to see, but he missed us so much and he wanted to come back so bad that I couldn't say no.
I'll bet he did, yeah.
Does he at least get a new pair of boots?
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean,
I'll have to talk to Pam about that tomorrow. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to make the following appointments with a stipend of $1,800 each, prorated for the year 2021, effective March 8th, 2021. Deputy Superintendents for Highway, Heather Amy and Brian Chase.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that is it for all our resolutions. Reggie, I turn the floor over to you
Thank
for
you
a
very
quick
much.
presentation.
Yes, I'm going to actually start with Tamara Cooper, who is co-chair of the Reform and Reinvention Committee. Tam, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have Tam start us off.
Well, first of all, we are very pleased with what we have to turn in to the committee. And I have my copy right here. I just want everybody to see. And I want to thank everybody who worked so hard on this committee. A lot of hours went into this, a lot of thinking. It was really a challenging process, and also a process that was, I think, full of vision and full of hope, and one that has brought all of us to a place of feeling encouraged about this process. And we are very pleased with what we've put together. It has come together as the many different subgroups that we had coming together to look at all the different things we were asked by the governor to look at. And not only have we been asked by the governor to look at this, we're being asked by many social movements right now to lean into these kinds of issues and to look at how we have been shaped by many different things in our lives, and how we at this point are at a pivotal place to move forward to make our community a place that's built on the values that I think Woodstockers have always believed in. And we're being asked to look at these in a different way and to step up in a different kind of way. And the committee itself was able to really look at some of these things, to grapple with how difficult some of this material is, and to put together a report that we feel pleased with. So I really want to thank everybody who's been on the committee, everyone who put in so much time and effort and thinking and goodwill and good heart into this. And we hope that you will join us in some of the recommendations that we've come to bring to this board.
Tam. I agree with everything that Tam said. First, saying thank you to the committee members and all the members that were part of subgroups. As Tam said, it's been challenging in many ways. This is important work. I'm grateful for many things about our town, but we can do more and we can do better in many ways. And I think these recommendations are a step in that direction. This is not the end of the work, and you'll see in board members in your inboxes, you'll all have this report. There's some things that we can do immediately, I think, to move things forward, and there are things that are going to take more time. I encourage all of the board members and the community to look at these and to engage with us, give us feedback, and to join with us as we continue this work. You know, all the things that have happened around this past year with the death, especially of George Floyd, was really I think the major catalyst. There are other things that have been going on for years that have led up to that point. And I'm sorry that it took those things to get us to this place. But yes, he was murdered. I don't disagree with that. I see that in the comment section. But this is an opportunity for us to make things better for people of color in this town and beyond, for everyone. And I'm looking forward to continuing this work. I hope, again, you know, I'm looking forward to engaging with the board members on this process and seeing what we will adopt to present to the state. I'm sorry.
Somebody had their.
Somebody.
I'm just going to remind everybody to please keep your microphones muted if you're not addressing the board.
I do want to thank also, thank the police chief and many of the officers that were a part of this process. While there certainly is a lot of work for us to do, I do appreciate the openness and at least conversation that I'm able to have with Chief Keefe. I don't think you will find that everywhere. And I'm grateful for him having an open ear and being able to have real conversations with him and his commitment to making things better in this town. And not only while he's chief, but I'd like us to see a set of standard that no matter who the chief is, that we have an expectation for our officers and how they engage with the public, and that we start to communicate the way that we engage and policies. There, again, the recommendations, there are a number of them. It's a pretty large document. I want to really thank Ashley Slavinsky, I can't say thank you enough for, and on behalf of the entire group. You know, she's been so supportive and so helpful with the technical aspect around the Zoom meetings and getting the document, you know, to help working with me on that. I just could not have done it without her. She has been just invaluable, and I'm so lucky and grateful to you, Ashley. So thank you so much. And also I want to thank Tamara, who's been supportive through this process and someone that I've been able to look to and lean on in times that it was really necessary. And she's been a huge part of this along with the rest of the members. And again, every single member on this committee came with an earnest and sincere, or came from a place of sincerity and earnestness in really wanting to contribute and to help make things better. And so I really do thank everyone in the committee. I thank all the folks that came and participated in the survey. I thank everyone that were part of the subgroups that lent their voice and their vision. And thank you.
Reggie, so I'm just gonna continue on that for a second and just acknowledge the 8 committee members. I know there were a lot of other folks that were involved, but a big thank you to Chief Clayton Keefe, to you, Reggie Earls, Councilman, Tamara Cooper from Family, thank you. And I know you had a couple of other Family employees that gave us a big, I'm sitting here trying to find you on the screen, Tamara, I see you now.
Right by you, but that's just where I am.
Rachel Marco Havens, legislator Jonathan Hapner, Vanya Tardello, sorry if I mangled that a little bit, and Anula Curtis from our Human Rights Commission. And I know that there were a number of other folks, if you, Reggie or Tamara, want to add a couple of names, I'm not sure, that really spent a long time and were at a lot of meetings helping out. And also a big thank you to the public who participated in the survey. That was a critical part of this. So thank you very much to all.
And it will be on the, I see a question, it will be sent out on the town website to the committee members. I will be sending it out to you this evening. It was down to the wire to get it done, but I'll be sending it out. It's a full document. Everyone's recommendations from each subgroup are in the document, so nothing was taken out. So whatever you submitted as a subgroup is fully in the document for the town board, and it will be available for the public to see, to view, and to make comments, to email comments.
So
I would like to add something. Bill, is that okay? Or you
sure,
want? Okay.
Sure.
So one thing that we all agree on is that this work is work that needs to continue. And it has as a murder, its beginning place. It stems from there into all kinds of issues that impact our ability to be fully human. And you will see in this report a call to not just look at any particular oppression, but look at the place where we as a community can look at all the different oppressions that are still very much alive in our community. We're also very grateful that we have a starting point that we do, that we are starting from a place of being able to move forward without a whole lot of remediation, which gives us the latitude to really move into these kinds of values and re-envisioning our community from many different perspectives. And each of our committees has, as one of its recommendations, the formation of a committee that would take this work forward and to take it forward for as long as necessary. And we are all very committed to that. And we know Woodstock to be a town that has in its heart that commitment. So it is a call to all of us to lean into the places where we're shaped and are still shaped by the ways in which we absorbed our upbringing, absorbed the cultures we were socialized into, the context in which we learned, and to unlearn a whole lot of things. So I just wanted to make sure that that is said here tonight.
Thank you, Tim.
Very good.
And it is my intention to appoint a committee to continue this on. you know, what we'll do in 2 weeks when we meet is adopt the report to forward to Albany. But we need a committee to take a look at it and really pick out the things that are most critical that we should be working on first, and prioritize things. And, you know, I'm going to call upon Reggie, he already knows this, to head up that committee. But that'll happen in 2 weeks. You know, another thing that I did hear a bit of early on is, you know, why do we need to do this? Woodstock's a great place. We have a good police department. All of those things are true, but there is always room for improvement. And we need to all continually look inside and make adjustments and readjustments and try to do better, because there's always room for that. So somebody started to talk.
Bill,
Richard?
Yeah. Well, first, thank you, Reggie. Thank you, Tamara. And I agree with Tamara. I mean, this has to continue. But just, I think you answered part of my question, Bill, but short term, Reggie, what do you want from us? What do you need from us in the next few weeks?
Well, I can tell you what we need to do is at our next meeting in 2 weeks, we need to digest this report and we need to accept it as a full document to forward to Albany. That has to be to Albany by April 1st.
I understand that. But what I was
and
asking
that's
Reggie
really the next thing that has to happen.
Okay, what I was asking Reggie, okay, that's pretty much going to be a pro forma thing, I would think.
Correct.
Where do we go from there?
The committee starts to digest
Start
it
to do its right. So again, I think this is a starting place.
Okay.
These recommendations, and you'll see when you see it's a lot here. And again, I think some things we can implement quickly, and other things we can start a conversation about setting some goals as we move forward.
Okay.
So really the most important thing right now is going to be, as Bill said, really looking at this, and you know, we can have conversations, you know, if there are individual questions, or I can connect with members of the committee. If there are questions, heads, you know, of subgroups, if the board members want to speak with them to ask more questions, I imagine they will be happy to do that.
Thank you, Reggie.
Yeah, well, I am flipping through it. It's 66 pages, so it's a healthy sized document, but it looks very well organized. I just kind of, because I know we just got it before the meeting, but it looks very well organized. A lot of good stuff from what I can see so far. A lot of good stuff in it.
Thank you, Laura.
Okay, Chief, did you want to add anything to the conversation at this time? Can Clayton hear me?
Well, Clayton's on mute. So Clayton, if you're talking, we can't tell if you're talking because you're wearing a mask.
Nope, I just got the document just a little while ago, and I've been leafing through it, and it's certainly very well put together. And you know, I'm eager to continue working on making any changes necessary. You know, that the town wants to accept, and I think I've been here a long time. I think we do a great job as a community-based police, and we want to continue that, and we got to move on the same lines too, to keep up with the times in society.
I couldn't really hear most of that. You were breaking up.
Did anybody hear me or no?
Yeah, I heard
better, if you want to recap real quick, that sounded better.
And I just want to go back and say, that I'm eager to work with the committee that you're going to continue point to keep working on our recommendations, and it's a great town, and I think we have a great police department here, and we want to keep it community based police, and so we just fine, and and we got to be able to make the changes along the same line.
Thank you, Chief. Are there any other members of the committee that want to say a couple of words?
I think Rachel has her hand up, or somebody else has her hand up.
Call me in.
I do. I don't have my hand officially, but I would like to share a little before we move into any next places. There's a few important, thank you all for having us and for being as willing to embrace this conversation as you have been. I have spent some time out in the county and in the community and other towns that are municipalities that are processing this along with us. We've been working closely with other community groups, 845 Unity, who is present, also Anti-Racist Catskills. Wake Up What's Next has been a tremendous support in bringing youth to our committee. We unfortunately didn't have a strong youth presence throughout the process, but in the end, we did. I'd like to just preface our, I'm speaking as a member of this committee and also as a one of the leaders of the subcommittee. I guess I would say I'm the committee member who was on the subcommittee that handled quote unquote cultural change, which was basically the bulk of the mandate in regards to anti-oppression. We had a short period of time to pull these together. We had quite a lot of help. And what I have experienced throughout the course of this process mirrors quite a bit of what has been seen across the state. There's a large group of people across the state calling for unity amongst these groups. And I think there's definitely a lot of resources in which to work as a municipality to embrace some of what has been brought. As a committee member focusing on the actual anti-oppression angle, one of the things I really want to speak right now while I'm here with you, the town board, is the truth that first I'd like to introduce ourselves to people who do not know me, who are on this town board, and also who may be popping in from other places within the community. I was born in Kingston Hospital, raised here. I started working on Main Street in 1982 in the center of the progressive movement in the Woodstock Health Food Center. That put me onto Main Street very early on. I've been paying attention to the ebbs and flows of this town as it moves. I understand we are a tourist town. I also understand the importance of actually taking a real wide look, because we do have a wonderful police department. We also have some very serious issues within our police department which need addressing. I'm asking and hoping that the town can see the actual responses that the community put out, of course, not with the names of who put them, just so that the community can see what we were able to obtain from the very minimal low-hanging fruit, which was actually absent of the oppression conversation in the survey that went out to the community. What is very important that we have to understand is that, particularly with a police force as we have, which doesn't have a high rate of abuse of humans physically, we do have systemic issues, and many of those issues actually point back out to municipal design, the design of the law enforcement in and of itself. And we as a community will have to take responsibility and not just sort of toss this down to the community itself, because to the police department itself, because if we continue to feed them what we quote unquote feel we need them for, then we will actually just continue in the same exact cycle. So we can train our police officers, we can work towards supporting them having positive mental health, we can consider quote unquote community policing. But if we don't, as a municipality, if the municipality doesn't start to take responsibility for some of the, I'm gonna say these words, white supremacist activities which are uncomfortably embedded accidentally into the systems we're working with. This is not to say that each human or any human on our town board has those desires to be or working toward a white supremacist experience, but the systems that government is created on in America is a white supremacist model. We have to change that. We will not be able to continue this conversation if we do not have a contexted people of color and people of context, people of lesser means, creatives, the people that actually cause this town to be able to call itself a destination point of progressive community. We don't have that anymore. We have pushed out most of our progressives, and we are looking at a Main Street first community. So what I'm asking us to do is really look forward into this document and into what we do next with the truth, with recognizing how much weight we put on Family of Woodstock, how much weight we put on the police to handle systemic issues that are fed to them and us by the handling of this government. This municipality needs to take a good look at itself. So I'm asking you all to consider that as you move forward into this document. And please, it's very important that there is a contexted group moving forward to look across this issue and municipally, not just targeting our police. I'd also like to mention one more thing. The
And then-
three
then I'm
officers,
gonna ask you to wrap it up.
you can. I
Thank
know.
you.
I've already been almost kicked off this board twice now. This committee, yes. I will say the three contexted police officers, they would be named John Amoroso, Kevin Lane, and Greg Vander Bogart, were not consulted in this process by our chief. I'm sorry to call this out right now, but those are the three officers that walk through our towns on a regular basis. They know our kids. They need to be part of the forward moving process.
Thank you, Rachel. Are there any other committee members that wanted to say a couple of words? Okay.
Jackie was on a subgroup. She'd like to say a couple of words.
Okay.
Just like, Ashley, you got my report, right?
Yes, she did. She's
'Cause I
nodding
don't
yes.
see it
Yes,
in
I did.
this. Did the rest of the committee see my report?
I believe I sent it to them. I'd have to look.
Okay, I'm just curious why I'm not seeing it in this at all.
I haven't seen the final report, so I couldn't tell you. What everyone's looking at has not been sent.
Hold
to
on, no cross dialogue
I'm talking,
right now.
Bill. Go ahead, Bill. I'm sorry. Why?
So Jackie, let us look into that tomorrow and I'll have an answer for you.
Okay, I'd appreciate that. It's about project access. I'd like to see the police department do more aggressive ticketing of people illegally parking handicap parking spaces.
Okay.
And I'd create a project known as Project Access, something I created in Albany, New York.
Okay. Any other committee members?
But I'd like to say, to your secretary, Ashley,
which is that there's so much more
few
than
months.
Excuse me. We have the chief talking. Thank you. Go ahead, Clayton.
Yeah, I just like to say thank you to Ashley. She's typed that up. It's been time consuming, and she's been a great help. And so I'd like to recognize that also.
Yes,
yeah,
actually, I think she put your whole policy book on computer format. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, she did. She typed you, retyping it over as we go every week.
Okay.
Yep.
Bill.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, I'm going to close this conversation. I'm going to ask that the town board all take a look at this report. We're going to come back in 2 weeks to talk about it more. It will be online. It'll be on the town website. And Ashley, there must be some way we can put a link on Facebook as well.
Yep, I can link it right to the town website.
Okay, so we will do that tomorrow. It'll be available for the public. Let's say by 10 o'clock. Ashley's usually in by 9. And with that, I'm going to move. Well, Richard, do you? We were going to talk about SDRs, but would you rather move to the?
Well, let's leave that to the end. And
Okay.
we've kept these other people waiting, so let's move on.
So what I'm going to do, I know that Kirk Ritchie, is he on?
I saw him.
Kirk,
Susan?
So I just want to stop this for a second and say that one of our subcommittee members, who is a youth of our community, was actually going to say something and didn't get to finish what he was saying because he accidentally, because of this, I'm assuming a lag, accidentally spoke over the chief. So before we close this up, can we allow the young person to speak?
I'll give him a minute, and please don't cut in again. So who's the young person that wanted to speak?
Me, my name is Ruben.
Hello, Ruben.
Hello, I'm on a youth led or youth prioritized. Yeah, I'm on I'm on Wood Wake of What's Next, and I was just gonna echo what Rachel was saying about this is not supposed to be targeted at any one thing, but a reevaluation of the municipalities and just anything that's holding this kind of power. It's like what Spider-Man says or something from Spider-Man, will do power and responsibility, and like you gotta do that. And to be continued, and like think about the white supremacy that's like lying in all the nooks and crannies of all this, because it's like it's there, it's right there. Anyway, thank you, and thank you, Rachel, for speaking up for me.
Thank you, Ruben. Kirk and Susan, I believe you both sent in a letter together from the Housing Committee.
Yeah, Susan's going to unmute herself.
I believe.
There you go, Susan. You can unmute yourself.
I see your lips moving, but Susan, we can't hear you yet. Susan, you're still muted.
Ashley, are you able to unmute her?
I can only ask her to unmute. She's
Okay.
gonna.
Sorry.
Okay, there we go.
Sorry, out of order there. All right, just let me get the letter, which is here. Yes, so our housing committee in the town was alerted to a situation that's been developing, and we feel it is impacting our ability to deliver on the commitments that we've made to the town. And so we crafted this letter, which I will read, and then Kirk will speak to that after I read the letter. Bill McKenna and town board members, at the present time, Woodstock is facing an unprecedented transition of ownership of properties away from individual full-time and part-time residents. Many of the new owners are LLCs or individuals whose intentions for development and use of these properties are unclear. The increase in short-term rentals over the past few years underscores our concern that many purchasers are investing in Woodstock as a commodity, not as a community. We urge the town of Woodstock to adopt a land use moratorium while the town completes the critical work already underway to update zoning and identify housing strategies as articulated in the 2018 Comprehensive Plan. To accomplish this in a timely and responsible manner, we respectfully request that the town engage a land use attorney for the specific purpose of drafting the moratorium to meet this current need in consultation with the Zoning Revision Committee and Woodstock Housing Committee. Without such a land use moratorium, Woodstock cannot protect the residential character of our town or realize the vision presented in the comprehensive plan that was developed by a robust community engagement process. The continuation of mounting real estate market pressure in Woodstock makes passing a moratorium now a logical step. The Housing Committee stands ready to provide any input we can in this important process, and it is signed by the co-chairs, myself and Kirk Ritchie, and our current members, Deborah Meyer-Dewan, Urena Kinlan, and Robert Young.
Thank you. And Kirk, you were going to add to that?
I wanted to add a little bit more the intent of our request for a memorandum, and that's really to we wanted the town to understand that the pause that we're recommending is because of the commercialization of our housing in Woodstock. That's a very specific point we wanted to make, the commercialization of our housing in Woodstock. And town residents, really, we want them to know that the moratorium is not intended for them. It's intended to stop the LLCs and the non-resident owners who view our town as a commodity, as Susan just said, rather than a community as we see it. And our town needs to stand up for this market pressure, and that's what we're asking the town to do. And really the specific request of our letter is simply to engage a land use lawyer. And we believe that to relieve the concerns of the people of our town, to ensuring the residents that we still are able to, that they are still able to apply for permits and to improve and maintain their properties. And that's the things I wanted to stress, because a lot of people express concern over the moratorium that it would include everyone. And we're only allowing, we really wanted to focus this effort on what we've already spoken to. Thank you.
And Bill, if I could add the zoning revision committee's
I think
added
some other
remarks.
people want to speak as well.
Well, look, so we heard from a committee, we're going to hear from another committee, and then Ashley, you've got some members of the public we'll go to. Go ahead, Laura.
Okay, so the housing committee joined our zoning revision committee last evening, and we discussed this topic, and our zoning revision committee took a vote that we do as a committee do support the concept of the moratorium. So our statement that that I sent around earlier today to the town board and copied all members of zoning revision committee as well as housing committee was the Woodstock zoning revision committee supports the concept of a moratorium on commercial building in the town of Woodstock for a 9-month or longer period of time while we assess and address zoning law updates to preserve our historic Woodstock community. With this mix of housing opportunities for residents of all incomes, any moratorium needs to protect the rights of Woodstock residents to maintain and upgrade their residences. So the zoning revision committee is on board with this concept. We need to do it legally, of course, but definitely on board with the concept.
Okay. Ashley, you had a couple of people who signed up. We'll go through the public be heard. Anyone who wants to talk about this issue? I know there's maybe another person on there who wants to talk about something else, but we'll keep it to this for the moment.
I have Terry and Mark. I'm not sure what their topic was.
I'm pretty sure I have a sneaky suspicion it was about this one. Terry, I did get your email with petition, the signature of 40 or more individuals. So you've got you got the floor for 2 minutes.
I'd like to read that into the minutes.
Sure.
It's from the Woodstock Neighbors Committee. We formed that committee a number of years ago when we were confronting and dealing with Waterfall Way. We've been dormant for a while, but the situation that's presented itself now is really important, dire, and very timely. So we drafted this letter. Dear members of the Woodstock Town Board, at various points in the unique history of this community, Woodstock has had to make decisions which profoundly affect the direction of community growth would take. We find ourselves at another such place today as we're clearly entering a new phase in community life that brings with it many challenges. As a result, we wish to align ourselves with the increasing concern within the community over current and potential major construction projects that could fundamentally alter our town. In order to rationally respond to this uncontrolled expansion, we are writing as Woodstock residents to request that you declare an immediate moratorium on any new major building projects. This pause in building projects would provide the necessary time to review Woodstock zoning law, which in its present form simply does not respond to our current situation. Woodstock today is not the Woodstock of the 1980s when the zoning law was last reviewed. We are now a town whose residential communities are being threatened with commercial expansion, a town where many residents can no longer afford to either buy or rent, a town where our very sense of community is becoming a quaint relic of the past. In order to decide what we as a community would envision for the town, we need to take pause and reconsider our zoning laws, which are in many ways the heart of any future decision-making efforts. If we don't pause, then we will no longer have the ability to impact our present or future town planning efforts. We feel that we are making a very sensible suggestion. We ask that you, as our representatives, respond to this urgent request by providing a period to review zoning laws to see if they truly reflect the needs of our community. It's signed by 43 Woodstock residents so far.
Thank you, Mark. Did you want to add anything, or Terry, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, we're separate. He had his 2 minutes. I asked for my 2 minutes.
Your 2 minutes are up. Going. Go.
I just wanted to give a human face to this letter because I think depending on where we live in the community in Woodstock, we see this differently. But Mark and I live in the hamlet on Nair Street. And so we have seen this and are seeing this really up close. And just in our little, just on our block, we're moving upwards of 50% and over of STRs. So, and then we got a call last week from a neighbor he's a renter for 9 years. He and his wife are not rich people. They are loyal Woodstockers. And it looks as if that property is going to be bought by commercial interests, and he has been told to move. So it was with that alarm that we're asking for a moratorium on major commercial projects. You know, my neighbor Debbie said that one of the reasons she survived this pandemic is her neighbors. And more we feel like we're going to get sick. No one's going to bring us soup. It's that the face of our community is going to change unless we do something. And I don't feel like we have enough time. I feel like we're in an urgent situation because commercial interests have found out how to buy up the town. And so it's really, I'm just speaking as a community member. Thank you very much.
You know, not to make you feel any better about this, actually, I think it's worse. It's not just Woodstock either.
Okay.
I've heard stories throughout the county of outside forces coming in. I heard a story tonight about a group from the Philippines, big developers who are looking at the Hudson Valley. So it's an onslaught.
So
Well,
that I think reinforces the point that this is an urgent situation. I just want to say that I think it's very telling that this meeting started off with Reggie and Tam talking about concern about how to improve life in our community. It's a real, we are a community. And I think we really want to stay that way and protect ourselves for the heart of what we are. So thank you.
Thank you, Terry and Mark. Ashley, who's next on the list?
The last one I have left is Frank, because Kirk and Susan and Rachel already spoke.
Okay, and Frank, I think you want to speak on a different topic.
Well, yes and no. Your last subject just brought up a big concern of ours. On that subject, we might want to keep an eye on the intention of the land use at 10 Church Road. Because it's my understanding that the business from Kingston the idea was to move that all up here and maybe host big events up here on the hill, which would be very obnoxious. We had a sample of that last summer with that huge wedding and that huge fireworks show that shook my windows.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just think people ought to be paying attention to that because I think that falls right into what you were just talking about.
Right. You know, I live only down the street from you, and I went up that night to that party and with the police and told them they had to knock it off. That was the first time I actually met the owner, Vincent. And I mentioned to him, if you think this is going to become a regular thing, you've got another thing coming. It's not permitted in this area.
Right. I understand that was a family wedding and all that, but just the precursor of
but there was a rumor that
I've heard it from his mouth. But anyway, regardless of that, the business that he's in, and that is the business.
Right.
Okay, and the idea is to move that business from Kingston up to here. That was a lot of that with that property. All right, and second of all, like we're just kind of looking for an update right now. I'm not calling to bust your chops or anything.
So let me go back to the moratorium. Let's continue that conversation. I'll give you an update before we're done with the meeting.
Okay, good.
Anyone else want to speak to the moratorium?
Rachel said she had some.
Yep, I do. I actually heard a rumor that the Halliburton Giulianis are moving in on the Lasher funeral home. Are you kidding me? We have the capacity. We have put our long-term residents through serious work to get their own homes and their own businesses planted here in our town. We have allowed a wine bar to move in next to Brian at the pizzeria. We have another like little diner, deli, or whatever that is on the other side of town. We are actually inviting redundant businesses into this town that are exacerbating, again, police need. We've had an uptick in police need as we have these new neighbors. We don't know who they are. We are allowing businesses to just glom up properties. If somebody buys a piece of property for their home and then they buy one for their center where they're doing some kind of like, whatever work up in there, that's some kind of healing work, and then they buy 3 more pieces of property, like what is that about? Because we put our own people through hell. Why are we putting the money people through not hell? Why are we giving these people variances? Why are these people having such an easy time coming here? Because our police department is not equipped to handle the corporate crime that's happening here. We have businesses that are serving our children, underage girls in this town. We all know it. Our cops can't handle it. They're relegated to 8 to 2 on the weekdays, the ones that know our community. So I'm wondering how, when we look at a municipal overlay, are we allowing businesses to roll into town from Brooklyn and name themselves Woodstock Tattoo and park next door to a tattoo place who doesn't use that privilege, which he probably could have? We have been allowing corporate entitlement to the point of excessiveness. We have the quote unquote top real estate agent in town who flips houses knowing that they're selling them to people that will not be able to make it in a couple of years so they can sell them again on our housing committees. How is this working?
Okay,
this is what we're building. We have to stop building for entitlement, because you have already pushed out many people in our community who don't have the capacity. You as in whoever is governing this town for the last, 20 years? We know we could have stopped this. We could have stopped this already. We've already grandfathered 800 Airbnbs in this freaking town. Wake up. Y'all need to wake up.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah,
I will just remind the public that a number of years ago, I sat on the board and I actually lost an election by 2 votes. And I lost to 2 individuals who were opposed to the RUPCO project. And that's by and large why I lost. So nobody's been more committed to affordable housing in this town.
The RUPCO project is a RUPCO project that had a statewide lottery, and we still have homeless people.
Ashley, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the moratorium issue?
I would like
bring it back to the board.
I would like to say something when it's the board's turn.
Well, we can go back to the
Same
board,
here.
and if more public wants to be heard, weigh in, that's fine. Lauren, go ahead, and then Richard.
I also have a hand up from 845 Unity. I'm not sure what their topic is.
Okay, let's go through the board first, and then we can go back.
Okay.
I recently sold my last 5 acres to a neighbor who's going to keep it as trees, much like Kevin Smith, who I want to say thank you again to. And but I got letters and calls from real estate consortiums in Minnesota and Wisconsin that are just scanning properties in Ulster County to buy. And that's frightening to me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I sold it to another neighbor who wants to keep it as trees, and maybe way down the road, if one of their kids wants to build on it, that's fine. But it's predatory right now, the real estate market. So I'm in favor I wanted to sign your petition. They wouldn't let me. They said it would be a conflict of interest. But I figure you're allowed to have your opinion. When you run for office, you put your opinions out there and people judge you by that. So
You can go sign their petition.
I wanted to, but they snubbed me.
Send it back to them.
Yeah, no, I'll never forgive them. But no, it's not local. It's like global almost. And I think we need to do something to get a handle on this, at least put some thought into it, because it's crazy. That's
Okay.
all I got.
Okay, Richard?
You know, even before I got on the board, I was pressing about STRs, never thinking, frankly, and that's my own fault, that it would ever get this far. It's just unimaginable where we're ending up. And, you know, we had a housing seminar that Kirk and Susan ran the other night, and, you know, maybe we didn't plant the flag early enough, but you got to plant the flag sometime. And now's the time. You know, we're going to talk about STRs in a little bit and what we're going to be doing there. You know, we were the first town to establish a law in Ulster County. That law now needs to be reviewed. There's just too much, whether it's unenforcement or loopholes or whatever. But bringing it back to this moratorium, we got to move forward on something. I know Bill, and I want to thank you, Bill. I know Bill actually wrote a letter to the lawyer looking at this and how we can go about it. I'll let Bill speak for himself on that one. But I've been inundated with phone calls, emails, and you know, people knowing my work on the STR issue, and you know, working with the Great Housing Committee. You know, it's time we need to take a stand, because if we don't, we won't be here to take a stand.
Okay. Any of the other board members? Maria-Elena? Go ahead, Maria-Elena.
Hi. I agree with Richard, and I had sent the board an email, just kind of coming up with some ideas, and I'd like to continue doing that to mitigate this issue, as well as to hopefully maybe limit or not allow any future LLCs to be able to, you know, do what they're doing. You know, any kind of verification of Woodstock residents. We have the Muni card. So if we could use that as an idea to, you know, only allow Woodstock residents if they want to, you know, purchase land or, you know, whatever they want to do, but just to stop the LLCs from coming in, because it really is getting out of hand. So I'd like to help in any way. So
thank you.
Okay, and I'd like to speak up also. I know I read the Zoning Revision Committee's statement, but as a board member, I'll also speak up. I certainly agree. I mean, we do need to, and I think it's partly zoning changes, and I think it's partly STR law changes, and hopefully we'll marry the two together to get the right response, because we definitely do want to take a look at who we're allowing to buy where, and how can we legally, how do we legally get a hold on those things? So it's a really good question. The Zoning Revision Committee has, fortunately, we had two things we had as top priority that I just sent out to the board members today, is our proposed law for telecommunications and our proposed law for water protection. And we are, as of yesterday, housing is our top priority item that we are all full force on. So we are definitely full force on this, and a moratorium would be wonderful. As many months as we can get. I don't know if you can get longer than 9 months, but as many months as we can get legally would help out, so we can give some good analysis to what's the best way to solve this and legally do it and have time to get a law through the process and on the books. And I don't know what we do about LLCs who have already purchased. You know, if we would do a moratorium, you know,
there is, Laura, I will say one thing about the STR law. In the STR law, LLCs are allowed to have one, but they also need to identify the partners in that LLC, and that's part of what we're going to talk about with the STR revision. Let's see what's going on there. Okay.
So we definitely.
Yeah.
So the Zoning Revision Committee housing is the item that we are all working on right now, and this is a very hot topic.
Bill, can I just,
Yep,
unless Reggie wants to go before me. I don't know if you want to.
Reggie, you said to go ahead.
Okay, let's be clear, and maybe Kirk and Susan or Mark and Terry in terms of their letters, because Woodstock, it's been a town known to get rumors passed around. We are not talking about
Not in Woodstock.
We are not talking about impacting the home construction right now, or additions, or putting on a new bathroom, or even building a house that goes through the planning process. We're not going after the small guys in the construction. But let's be very clear about that, okay? And I think that needs to be stressed here, because otherwise it's going to be like, everything's being shut down, and that is not the intent, as I understand it. Correct me, Susan or Kirk or Mark or Terry. So I understand that is not the intent of this push.
Absolutely true.
Yes, that is true. And I'm going to add a caveat to that, because I think there's things we do not know about how people are buying properties and who's connected to who. And I think we ought to be really careful about being able to explore what those, I mean, it's one of the reasons for the pause, being able to explore what are the workarounds that smart people have been using or will plan to use once they hear about this, to purchase properties in an under the radar way. I'm not sure what other communities are doing, but as you said earlier, this is a problem everywhere. And I would hope there are some creative ways to explore that, so that we don't close the door and leave the side door open for those who are smart enough and motivated enough to slip in that side. That's something that I am concerned about.
Richard, were you finished?
No, that's fine. I just want to make that clarification.
Okay. And Reggie, did you want to add anything?
Be quick, yes, and just say thank you for bringing this forward. I was speaking to one of the other board members earlier this morning and saying, basically at this point, I feel like we're hemorrhaging, like we're only down to like a pint of blood left. I feel like we're already out of the gate. I mean, this has gone beyond, I think, what it should have. And I hope that that there are things we can do legally to address it. I was thinking this summer, as things loosen up, going out into local spots or local venues and not really recognizing the people there and feeling like, you're a tourist almost. It's an odd feeling. I've only been here about 15 years, but that's been a good chunk of time. And seeing people that really contribute to the fabric of this town not have a place here is sad, and it's hurting this town. The town is losing has lost some really great people, and I'd like to see us be a leader for other small towns instead of just saying this happens all the time. This is a cycle. What can we do to really make sure that going forward this doesn't continue? So whatever I can do to support that, I am with you 100%.
And I think, Bill, along with what Reggie's saying, we've lost a lot of good people in this town. They simply can't afford it. We've lost young people coming out of school who can't live here.
My son.
Yeah, and we've the people have gotten us through this damn pandemic. The shop, the clerks in the stores, the people at Bread Alone or Woodstock, whatever, Woodstock Meats, can't live here. That's a loss of diversity. And in a way, it's a weird form of almost voter suppression. We're losing these voices. And that's what makes a neighborhood. That's what makes a community. That's what makes having a next door neighbor who can jump your car in the winter, help you. Those are the types of things that are at stake here. We welcome new people with families or whatever. That's obvious. But going beyond that, we've got to be very, very careful. We just might as well bring the curtain down.
You lose your children, you lose your history. You lose your history, you've lost your soul. So that's where we are right now. We got to decide whether it's worth saving or not, because the money's here and it doesn't have a face or a name, and it damn sure doesn't have a conscience, but we ought to do the best we can.
Okay, so,
You want to
Richard,
talk, Bill, could you mention what you've done?
yeah, I
don't
was just
Okay.
going, so let me go to the STRs first, because I think that can be pretty quick.
Yeah.
Back when we passed the STR law, we all acknowledged that we thought we had a pretty good law, but we were confident that there were shortcomings in the law. And we all agreed that in a year or two, we would need to review that and make some adjustments. I think we're at that point. Richard and I had a good conversation the other day about that. So I'm appointing him to lead a committee. Richard, if you want to give me the rest of the names, if you want to get the same committee back in force.
Well, no, I'm still working on some of the folks, but right now, yes, I mean, I can tell you who I got so far if you want.
Okay.
I wanted to, Ed Sanders and Lauren Rose worked on the original thing, so I don't want to go back and rehash everything we did in terms of bringing people up to speed.
Right.
So Ed and Lauren have agreed to serve. I've also got actually a short-term renter, someone who rents out, but who does it perfectly, I think.
Good.
Karen Bevitt has
Good.
agreed to serve. We'll get one more and we'll get going. The idea, again, we had said, like Bill just said, we were going to review this law. This is not anything that just came out of the blue. But as we've gone along, and since we were the first, we didn't foresee everything. And there, as Susan mentioned before, there are loopholes, I believe, within the law. There's the question of enforcement of the law and how much the building department can do under the stress they're under sometimes. There's a number of items that need to be addressed and looked at. Again, like I said, we were the first town to pass such a law. We've had other towns coming to us to ask our opinion. I've gotten plenty of phone calls on that. And they, there's lots of things. There's some things we just didn't foresee. And I think with proper enforcement, tightening up of things, we can reduce this even further. We're technically down to about 230, technically. That doesn't mean there aren't illegal ones out there. No one's being naive. And if you're operating illegally, we're going to try to work our way to find you.
The building department is working the way through a list and sending out violation letters. So they are working on that.
I know they're.
And at some point in the next couple of months, I imagine we're going to start to hold some of these people into court to bring them up on charges with regard to that.
As long as our courts will back us.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I did recently request an updated list from the
was going to
county.
ask you, thank you for reminding me. I was going to ask you yesterday about that.
Yeah, I have requested that, so that should be coming through shortly. With regard to the moratorium, you and I, Richard, had a little chat about it last week, so I started doing some homework over the weekend. I actually had a resolution all written that I was going to present tonight. Let me just pull it up here. Where is it? I don't see it here. But basically, in my mind, I thought the two spots that were really critical were any subdivisions, because there I think we could strengthen our zoning law to up the percentage. Right now, I believe it's 5% of any subdivisions need to be affordable housing. We could raise that up to 20–25%, and that would definitely help. The other area of problem that I see is where we're losing residential properties to commercial ventures, which is basically what you guys are talking about. And instead of, and just to be clear, Richard, you made a good point of this. Not that we're going to ban every project or every permit or every hammer swing, but really just focus on what's causing the biggest problems for us. Even commercial projects, if they want to do a little renovation, I don't think we should be focused on that. That's not where we're losing. But anywhere where we have residential properties being scooped up and commercial properties being put in their place is where we're having a shortcome. And I might get booed a little bit on this, but I really ask you folks to think about this. We don't need to scorn developers necessarily. We need to try and embrace them and get them to do the type of development we need. So maybe the next developer that comes in and says, I want to build 5 high-end homes, what we should be saying to them is, look, we don't need any more high-end homes. Why not, instead of doing 5 high-end homes, do 15 affordable houses on that same property? So I think that's what we can really do to help get us out of this situation. I will continue to discuss with the attorney. I've talked with the town attorney, talked with Dennis Doyle at the county planning office about moratoriums. So the simple resolution that I wrote up would not be sufficient. It has to be a local law, which will take some time to pass. It's got to be written up, it's got to be publicized, it has to have a public hearing, and it has to go to the county for their review. So it will take some time. But in the meantime, what I would suggest is what courts will look at is there justification? In this case, I do think there is justification. We have a crisis. We have an affordable housing crisis. And they want to see, though, that we are working towards a solution. So I think we can all start tomorrow morning thinking about what exactly is causing this problem and how are we going to rectify that. And in the meantime, I will talk to Rod about possible attorneys, land use attorneys. We do have one with the planning board that might be up to the task. Richard?
No, I don't want to put you on. I'm just trying to get a sense of timetable here and what the actual next step actually is going to be, and what we as a board need to do. If there needs to be a group of people working on this to expedite,
I think that the most critical thing at this point is to start working on, if we have this when we get this moratorium in place, how are we going to solve the problem? How are we going to answer the question? That's the $64 question right now. And I think those are the most important things. I can work with the attorney. Richard, you and I can work together and get this local law in a couple of weeks. I think that that's the easier part. I think once we have the moratorium, how do we resolve the problem? And it's got to be, they have to be realistic. It can't just be, no. We have to come up with concrete ideas about how we are going to solve the problem.
Yeah, and I guess what I'd like to know
the cause of the problem.
Yeah.
Laura.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear me because I tried to mute myself on the phone ring. Okay, so, and I definitely would like the zoning revision committee, again, we are 100% focused on housing at this time because we got the other things off our plate. And so I want us to be definitely part of the solution. And so I agree 100% Bill with what you're saying is we do need to have the brainstorming ideas. And maybe I guess my question is, as a zoning revision committee, what is the best way for us to gather people's ideas for that? I mean, I think that a lot of people may have ideas of what's the best way to solve this situation with the zoning law. And I'm certainly very interested in hearing people's ideas. And I figure that Richard, as you and the STR committee talk, you're probably going to have some insights. And definitely, and oh, by the way, the housing committee, the zoning revision committee, we meet the second and the fourth Monday of each month. And we added a meeting for this coming Monday because the housing topic is so hot. And so if anybody wants to join the zoning revision committee meetings, they are second and fourth Monday at 6:30. And we've got an additional meeting this coming Monday. We're doing 3 meetings in this month. And I would love to hear people's ideas of where in the zoning law, how do we shore this up? Do we do it by Woodstock, the different zones within Woodstock? Do we do it by making laws of, it's kind of hard to figure. I mean, you can say in this zone, you can only do this or that, but the other ideas people have, or how do we make sure somebody's not, like you say, Bill, they're not building one, $2 million home, they're building a bunch of affordable houses. How do we legally do that? So I'm all open to idea, and we do meet twice a month plus an extra meeting this coming Monday. So I definitely am all ears and want the zoning revision committee to be part of this solution.
Bill, I understand what Laura's saying. My concern when I ask about the next steps, though, is yes, we have to come up with solutions. We can't just willy-nilly pull this off and shut everybody down. But the actual town law that you're talking about that must move forward first doesn't have to include the solutions. That's what we're pausing. That's what we're pausing for.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm talking about the technical aspect of putting the town law together, having the public hearing, and whether it passes or not, that's up to whatever. And then we move on to the zoning revision and all those other things.
Yes, what I had said earlier, Richard, is that you and I tomorrow, the next day, we can start to work on that with the attorney.
Okay, I mean, I don't know if I'm the best one. I'm not a land use person, or
We'll have a land use attorney to guide
Susan
us.
and Kirk and other people are more knowledgeable about some of this stuff than me. So, we'll see. We'll do the best. We'll do the best we can.
Yeah, Bill, at last night's meeting, Ed Sanders said he was involved in a moratorium, the law that happened in the 80s. So a few years back, but Ed Sanders is a wonderful resource for many things, and you could reach out to him for advice.
Okay, I will keep that in mind. I also received a copy of the moratorium from Hurley that they did a year or so ago.
Yeah, there's plenty of them. There's plenty of them online, so you can always find them.
Bill, I just wanted to add just momentarily, this is Kirk, co-chair with Susan on the Housing Committee, and we are working on finding, I think another aspect of the pause is that the Housing Committee can work on a means that this town needs to build housing. So we're, talk about developers, we have a lot of builders in our town. So building having the ability for our town to coordinate and collaborate with our local resources and identifying the projects that would work for us to build the housing for workers, because that's what we're looking to build. Building housing for workers, for artists, for seniors, for first-time home buyers. This is the focus of the committee. And so it really is the steps that we're working on is to create the means for us as a town to build our housing. And I wanted to make sure everyone understood that.
Excellent.
I just wanted to add too, just to wrap up on the short-term rental. Like I said, ours was the first in the county, and people have adopted a lot of the things we've done. And I'm sure they'll be asking us more questions about this. But the important thing to me about this short-term rental deal, and I think it also goes to planning as well, is the enforcement. Is going to be the enforcement, and that's going to be critical. There are loopholes, like I said before, but we need, our law being first. We didn't know everything. We tried to do the best we could when we did it. What we were talking about over 2 years now, we're a different community than the other communities. Okay, other communities like Kingston or whatever aren't the tourist meccas we are. Okay, so we face a different challenge than other communities, and we got to be inventive and imaginative on how we're going to do this and not kill the golden goose, but at the same time, we got to build for communities and neighborhoods.
Okay. So I see a couple of hands up. 845 Unity. Did you have something you wanted to add on this topic?
Nope.
No, I was trying to unmute. It wouldn't let me unmute. I had my hand up for like 45 minutes about another topic. One question before I ask the other question is, how do you guys run the meetings? Like, you just glance over one topic, jump to a next one, not allow the public to comment?
It depends on what we're talking about. What did you want to comment on?
Well, I wanted to comment about the 203 order that you guys glanced past without allowing the public to speak.
You're talking about the police reform?
Correct.
So we just got that document tonight. We'll be dealing with that in 2 weeks.
But you're not allowing the public
Okay,
to ask
I'm
questions?
giving you an opportunity right now.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it, Mr.
You're welcome.
McKenna.
It's Bill.
Bill, okay.
What's your name?
My name is Alan.
Alan?
Yes. Well, the first thing I wanted to talk about the topic of building, you have a board member that sold off 5 acres, and now he suddenly has a problem with developing going on in the community. Did he vet the people that he sold the 5 acres to? And my other question is, you said you're putting together a committee, and I was wondering who's going to be selecting that committee, how many people are going to be on that committee, and what will be the power of that committee?
This is the committee regarding the police reform?
Police reform, yes.
So it'll be a task force that the supervisor appoints. Reggie Earls is going to be, I'll appoint as the lead, and I'll ask him for 4 more names.
And what will be the power of that committee?
They'll review the recommendations and advise the town board on what to adopt and how to adopt.
But haven't you guys already been sent recommendations?
We've been sent recommendations. This smaller committee will review them, prioritize them, look for money to fund them. Some of them we may not be able to achieve right away, but you know, I'm hoping that the governor who requested this is going to be generous in helping us fund some of these changes. And that committee will also deal with that as well.
And so your report will be ready for the 1st?
Yes. My recommendation to the board will be to adopt this report up and down and send it to Albany.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alan.
Yeah, so I think there's a question.
Can I address the board member that sold the 5 acres, since that's me?
Yes.
I sold it for a lot less than market value. I sold it to a contiguous neighbor of the property that's going to keep it as trees. So I feel really good about myself for doing that. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Laura, you had something?
Right. So I think somebody put in the chat, but I think it's a fair question to ask. We do have a Human Rights Commission, and the police group that Reggie worked with, there seems to be some overlap, right? So we still have, so the plan is to still have an ongoing Human Rights Commission, in addition, an ongoing group for the police reform, because that's a living document. We said we want to keep focusing on that in the future. So you might just want to talk to how those 2 groups may or may not be similar.
Right now, I'd like to go through and read the report before I make any more comments about it. I only just got it.
Okay.
Urena, you had your hand up? Oh, no, excuse me. I called on Ruben earlier. Ruben, you?
Yeah, please call on Rachel, but I'd like to get back to the 203 document, or what is the subject right now?
Right now, we're really talking about the moratorium.
Right. I would like to vote on this, wrap it up, whatever the next step is.
Okay. Well, thank you.
I'd also, can I just, for the record, ask
right.
someone to please send me the document in
Yes.
full? Because I still haven't seen it in full. I've put in our recommendations and I've not seen the document that everyone else seems to have access to.
I think somebody said it was going to go on the website. I thought I heard it said it was going to go on the website.
And Ashley said she would forward it, or Reggie, somebody said they were going to forward it to all the committee.
Yeah. So I've seen Urena's hand up for a while.
Hold on, Laura. Urena.
Okay. On mute, Urena. On mute.
Hi. So I just had a couple comments. One, I'm on the housing committee, and I think the other thing that we just want to say, I know, Bill, you were saying, you know, it's happening everywhere, and this is true. But if anyone had the opportunity to join or see some of the statistics that is on our Woodstock Housing Committee page, our Woodstock Community Homes page, and or from the Pattern for Progress, it talks about, and Evelyn Wright, which is the deputy executive of Ulster County, spoke, and it showed that our town is actually in the Hudson Valley, one of the that are in the highest crisis of this problem. So yes, it's happening in other places, but Woodstock is got it pretty bad. I mean, you know, we're in a very extreme situation. So we have to work together as you know, a bigger community, but I think the need is here. So I'm so happy that everybody is really taking this seriously on the town board. Thank you.
You know, you bring up a good point. So at our meeting 2 weeks from now, Evelyn and Dennis Doyle will be coming to discuss the county's report. And I've had a lot of interaction back and forth with them. And it, you know, that's why I brought up that it is a county issue. It's a regional issue that we all need to work on. And you are correct. Woodstock, we're probably a little worse off than other communities. We've seen property values increase.
Gardner was the only other worse than us.
Where?
Gardner.
Okay.
By New Paltz. Yeah, they're worse off than us, but we're right up there.
Our properties have, the value of our properties have increased 30% this past year. And then it was 30% in 2018 as well. So
Right.
we have a huge amount of acceleration of costs going on in our.
And the average price of a home, according to Mark Plate, is over $600,000.
Yeah, median price. Yep.
Medium, I'm sorry. Yes.
This document is on our page as well. That is from Pattern for Progress. It's specifically for Woodstock. You can get it to see statistics. And this is even added, like we need even more up to date for this year. Yeah.
Okay. So Richard, if you can stop in either tomorrow or Thursday, and let's plot out a course for moratorium. I would ask that the Housing Committee, the Zoning Revision Committee, and I will also send a memo to the Planning Board. If you guys can start to brainstorm and really come up with ideas. And again, I think we need to concentrate on how to keep residential properties from going commercial, and how do we increase development of affordable housing incentives. And whatnot.
Can I ask you, Bill?
Yep.
On the short-term rental revision committee or review committee, we don't meet for what? We don't meet next week, correct?
Correct. We meet on the following Tuesday.
Okay. Do you want to wait till then to appoint this committee, or?
No, I appoint you, and you can pick your members, and I will support that and ask that you start immediately. Don't
Okay.
wait.
All right.
Sounds
good to me.
I trust you. I may regret this, but I trust your judgment.
Ashley, you got this recorded?
Just right now with just this and nothing else.
Okay. You know, I got no life, so that's okay. Whatever you want to do.
Okay. With that,
we were going to ask. Okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I thought there was one more thing we had to do tonight, but never mind.
It says, I haven't seen somebody, Bill McKnight, with his hand up for quite a long time.
Bill, do you have a comment?
Also, there's a Stephanie Porta.
Yes, some of you know me, some of you don't know me. I'm the president of the Good Neighbor Food Pantry of Woodstock that has been housed in the Woodstock Reformed Church since 1990. And we were paying the church $1,800 a year for rent. I recently got a letter from them asking for us to pay them $8,040 a year for rent. We counter offered after getting some donations for $4,000 a year. And I got a letter today, unfortunately, and they rejected our offer and told us they want $8,000 or we have to leave the church. So we're going to have to, unfortunately, close our doors unless we can find a new home. And I'm pleading to the community to help us find a new home. I know, Bill, you've been extremely helpful to us. And so I just asking all of you, the board members, as well as all the community members who are on this meeting, to see if you can talk to people that you know to see if we can find a new home, because the Woodstock Reformed Church is basically kicking us out. Thank you all.
Mr.
So Bill,
I'm sorry.
just to address that for a minute, I have been working Susie Kessler, I'm not even sure what her exact title is.
She's the vice president of the board.
Okay, so she and I have been brainstorming and
Yes.
do have a couple of feelers out.
Excellent. Thank you.
So far, they haven't been very promising, but we are working on it.
Okay.
And I just to give a pat on the back to our maintenance department. What is it, twice a month?
They've been instrumental through Project Resilience. That's why I was saying I commend you. The town has helped us tremendously, and your folks have been absolutely invaluable. And that's why I'm coming on this meeting and asking for anyone who has any. Bill's been racking his brain. He's been trying to find this place, but we really need some help. And I don't know where else to turn except to the town, because we fed over 33,000 people in the last couple of years who are unemployed, underemployed, homeless, working poor. These people are going to not be able to get nutritious meals unless we get some help. So I'm just reaching out to everyone.
Can I just add, Bill, Mr. McKnight? I would add, and I don't want to say two dirty words, federal government, but under the new COVID bill, you might want to look into that, or at least contact Delgado or someone like that, and see what's in there for local relief, because I believe there's some stuff in there.
We have contacted.
That takes time. I realize all that nonsense, but
yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
We've been working on that. We have reached out to them, and we also were, because of the food bank, New York State Food Bank is where we purchase most of our food and we get a large amount of grants. We've asked them to also reach out and see if they can help us find a new home, because we are the highest rated food pantry in the entire region. And so it's really imperative that we find a new home so that people don't lose the opportunity to get nutritious meals.
Yeah.
So hold on. I got interrupted before. Let me finish what I was going to say.
We'll see you, Bill.
So a big pat on the back to Alan Van Wagenen. They've been going down, I think twice a month. They go down to Herzog's Plaza on Tuesday morning to load the truck for the food pantry to come back up here to Woodstock. I also want to give a little thank you to Mayor Steve Noble, because next Tuesday on the 16th, the boys are going to be unavailable to do that. They have to take their annual OSHA training. And I've been racking my brain trying to get an idea about who I could send down there. And I reached out to the mayor and I said, could you spare 3 DPW guys? So I think you're going to have some new helpers on Tuesday for that time, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. With that, I'm going to go to Stephanie Porto. You've had your hand up for a while, and then Tamara.
Thanks so much. I'll keep it brief. I just know that you guys are going to post the document to review the Executive Order 203 plan.
Yes.
And so you guys will have another meeting in 2 weeks. Can I just
Correct.
ask where that information will be posted so that we can make sure to attend? And is that going to be the way that you accept public comment, or should we submit public comment before that?
You can do it either way. It is more efficient for us to get it beforehand, and that doesn't preclude you from also speaking out. So the information will be on the Town of Woodstock website. Ashley will also post on the Town of Woodstock Facebook page a link back to that, so you can get it either way. And then you would get the link for the meeting in 2 weeks from Ashley, the same way as you got this one, and she'll send that out.
Okay.
And comments, the easiest way, instead of worrying about all 6 or 7 emails, if you just email your comments to supervisor@woodstockny.org, and I will forward off to the rest of the board and the committee.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Tamara?
I just wanted to say, in reference to what Bill said, that's very disturbing to me that we're going to be down to only Family Woodstock's food pantry. And knowing this now, Bill, we will do our best to open our food pantry up for more frequent usage for people until we figure this out. So
thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
I'm really sorry to hear this. It's very disturbing, and especially at a time when food insecurity is such a huge issue. So we will do our best to work together. and make sure
Amen. Thank you.
they have a place to come for food. So thank you.
Can
And
I
Bill,
ask
I had a
why
question for Bill
why are we
McKnight.
racking brains if we have an empty community center?
The community center gets used quite frequently and it doesn't have the refrigeration needs.
Yeah. The question I wanted to ask Bill is, Bill, do you know how, Bill McKnight, do you know how many square feet you need, and do you know how many refrigerators you need?
We have a refrigerator and we have 4 freezers. So we get a lot of frozen food. We need about 700 square feet, 600 to 700 square feet, 2 rooms is all we need. That's what we're in the Woodstock Reformed Church. We're using about.
Okay. So you need about 600 to 700 square feet, 4 freezers and 1 refrigerator.
Yeah, we have the freezers and we have the refrigerator. We don't need those. We have coolers, we have, carts and stuff, and we all the supplies we need, and we just need a location.
Yeah, but you need the electric to plug them all in though, because those,
Yeah, we've been paying the church $25 a month for electric, and wherever we go, we'll pay our way. We want to pay our, we're not looking for, a handout. We're looking for some help to keep.
Well, exactly. No, I'm just saying it'll help people brainstorm where you might go if they know what your needs are. That's all. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you, Laura.
Question. Can I ask a question?
Who is that?
It's Terry.
Terry, yes.
So, Bill McKnight, could you just tell us why the church increased the rent so dramatically? That's a very dramatic increase. Have you done something terribly wrong to the church?
No, actually, I think we've helped them with the mission to help to feed the poor. It's just that I think they're running into some financial difficulties because they're not getting a lot of people coming into church because of COVID, and they've got financial, situations with their finances, and they're just trying to raise everyone's rent. I know that the table is now out of the church as well, and there's other people that rent there that are being asked to pay more rent.
So one more question. If you were living there, they could only raise your rent 10% per year. Have you asked a lawyer, is it legal for them to raise it? They're raising it like 4 times.
We did contact an attorney, but this is not like a tenant under New York State tenancy law is for residential. This is not residential. We're a 501c3. We're a charity organization. So unfortunately, we're not treated under the same law.
Right. Okay.
One of the ideas that I've come up with and I'm trying to implement is that I get it. The church, they are in a financial bind. They have done a good job for a while keeping the rent down. And what I've suggested to a few other of the religious organizations in town is it's not fair for one church to bear this burden alone. And it would be nice to see them all kick in. And I would even be willing to kick in from the town a portion to get this rent covered. So maybe the church cut their rent a little bit, and the KTD monastery and the synagogue, because the food pantry is doing a mission that they all support. And it's not about whether you're Catholic, Jewish, Buddhist, or Methodist, you get the food. So if anybody has any connections with any of the other organizations, maybe it would be worth it to chip in. If we got 16 organizations to chip in $500 a piece, we'd have it covered. So, or actually, Bill, how much did you say you guys had? 4,000? So we only need to come up with half. We only need to come up with another 4,000.
Yeah, $4,040 is what we need to cover for the year. But it's every year that we'll need that.
Right.
We were fortunate that we got some contributions from generous donors, and a grant is only $1,800 a year.
Right.
But the balance we were able to pull together through various donations. But yeah, if we could get the other 4,040, then the church would let us stay there. But they're adamant they want the 8,040.
Right. Okay.
I might have an idea, Bill McKnight. Give me your number and chat directly, and I'll call you. I think I might know a place, possibility.
Okay, Urana, I'll text you. I'll put a number on the chat right now for you.
Yeah, just do a direct chat.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I just wanted to say that the table is now serving their meals from behind Family of Woodstock, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays from 3 to 5. So we are continuing to work together and have a place for meals to be served on those nights in conjunction with the other food or the other soup kitchen. So we are doing our best to create enough opportunities to feed as many people as possible.
Thank
Also,
you, Tamara.
Ruben wanted to ask a question. He's been there for a while, sorry.
Ruben, did you have a question?
I just want to move to the next thing or whatever other their vote on this, and people asking these things that are being spoken, that are just speaking, they're not really being called on. There's a lot of, I don't know, I want to get back to business. A lot of
Okay, thank you, Ruben.
Bill, let me just say that, you know, this whole last discussion is about this. It's about the community and neighborhoods we've been talking about. That's it. Bottom line. We just had an illustration of it. I don't know what better picture we need.
Okay, anything else from the board?
Yeah, quickly. The Civic Design has put up an alternate member. What do you want to do? Do you want to interview next meeting?
Did I thought I sent out an email. Maybe I didn't. I started to maybe. I was going to suggest we could either have him come into an executive session at the next meeting, or if everybody wanted to reach out, there's 2 weeks to have a private chat with him, then we could vote on it at our next meeting.
Up to the board. I don't care.
Let me know tomorrow and I'll set it up either way.
So you'll still share his name and number, because we could call individually, or if you want to set it up, that's fine.
If you, okay, so you're good either way, Richard?
Well, I'm okay either way, but when you need
I'm
information.
fine with it. I've already been through it, so.
Okay.
It's up to the other folks on the board.
Lauren?
I would call him if I had his number.
I'll get it tomorrow for you. Reggie?
Yes, I'll connect with him.
Okay.
He's an architect, so he's got a background.
I'll send that information out tomorrow. Okay, with that, I will make a motion.
Well, I had, yeah, okay. I had one thing for the board. So I did send out 2 documents a couple of hours ago. As I mentioned earlier, our zoning revision committee has a proposed telecommunications law. It's about 23 pages long. I sent that in an email to the board, and I had asked for responses over the next 2 weeks, but I think that Reggie's document takes a priority. So maybe we can do that for the following meeting. And then the other email that I sent was, we also have a water protection supply law that I just sent out to the board members, and asking that I get feedback on that by the Friday before our first April meeting. So the zoning revision committee is very, we had a great first quarter, let's say that, because we have 2 laws now on their way to the board, which is the start of the process to become law, and we're diving into housing. So and I guess I'll say maybe the deadline for both of these would be the Friday before our first April meeting, because Reggie's document is 66 pages, and so trying to have people review one of the laws, and that, unless people want urgency to the telecommunications or water protection, I guess, Bill, it's up to you whether you want to see us try to move those along sooner rather than later.
We'll deal with those in April, because
Perfect.
don't forget, I also have the plan of operation that needs to be adopted in 2 weeks as well. You guys have had that for over a month now. Richard, I know you had a couple of comments. I made adjustments to the plan. So if anybody else has any comments, otherwise I would move to adopt that at our next meeting.
Laura, can I ask you a question? I read the telecommunication draft. Well, I didn't read it all, sorry. But I had seen part of it before from Ed. Is there a cheat sheet on that thing? I mean, I don't know how many pages you got there, but in terms of major changes or major points we should be paying attention to?
Yeah, the cheat sheet is look for the underlines. The underlines, for the large towers that exist today, all he added was a preamble. And I say he, because Ed, many thanks to Ed Sanders, because he did the lion's share of the writing on this. But anyway, there's two sections. The large antenna, which is already in place, he added a preamble. You'll see that in the underlines. And then the small wireless, which is the scary thing for 5G, is about 10 pages worth. And you'll see that section is all underlined. So look for the underlines to see the changes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and before I move to adjourn, Frank, Amy, are you still on, Frank?
Yes, I am, Bill.
Okay, so the latest update is, I think you're probably aware of this, but it all went over to the courts. My understanding, although I don't have a formal document, but my understanding is that both Woodstock judges are moving to recuse themselves from the case.
There's a surprise.
And so unfortunately, that's going to slow things down. It will kick it over to Judge Rounds, who will have to assign it to another municipality. Hopefully that happens sooner rather than later. On a separate note, Vincent did contact me Friday, I think it was, and he said that they have come up with a concept plan to start removing the dirt. He had not seen it. He had, this is what his excavator told him. They're supposed to discuss it early this week, and I'm hoping that maybe at the end of the week, we can meet out with them at the property and review that plan and see if it meets muster. So,
Okay, he received his charges. Has everybody received their charges?
they should have, because thanks to Councilman Rose, he went down to double check and made sure that they were sent out via certified mail.
Oh, okay.
They actually, apparently the court sent them out originally, but maybe didn't have the right address. Is that right, Lauren?
That's what they were telling me. And
Okay.
so I asked them to humor me and make sure they went out certified so that we get some clarification on whether or not they actually received.
Okay, because I know that there's no mail received at 10 Church Road. It's done at a PO box in Bearsville.
I think that might have been the issue, and that's why it got kicked back.
Oh, if Vincent still has his father's PO box or where he gets his mail, so.
Lauren, would you mind just following up with the courts tomorrow and seeing if they've got any receipt back about the mail being received?
Nothing would please me more.
Thank you, Councilman.
So what was the reason the judges gave for recusing?
They don't want to do anything.
Laura, I don't have official word back. I know I heard that Judge Lesko was recusing himself because his wife Erin is on the Woodstock Environmental Commission. I don't know why that's a conflict. They are no party to this suit. It's the town and the town board and the building inspector that's bringing the charges. I do wish that Aaron had maybe been a little less active or vocal, but it is what it is. So he felt, my understanding, he felt he had a conflict. As with regard to Judge Houston, I don't know. Other than I know that they recused themselves the last time for some reason.
Yeah, what they told me, Judge Houston recused himself because of you.
Because of me? Oh.
Because of you, because you are the town supervisor and you have a deposition involved, and it's better than his mowing the lawn that he used last time, but it's
So that's right. I did hear that because I'm the town supervisor and I have a deposition against the three defendants.
Right. So
I'm not quite sure because I mean, they keep telling us how independent we are.
Yeah, no, they're completely independent when they want to be, and then
they're independently elected.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yes.
You'd think that they would stand up for the town that pays them, but that doesn't seem to work that way.
In any event, we will check on that mail tomorrow, Frank, and let you know.
I would appreciate it.
As soon as we have met with Vincent, Councilman Rose will let you know about that. And as soon as we have a new venue, he'll let you know about that.
Okay, because, tonight I hear about, land use and water protection and town law and courts, and here we are a year and 3 months later. But I understand, I know what's going on, but I'd appreciate things moving along.
You and I both.
Yeah,
All right.
all-
Thank
With
you.
that, I will call for adjournment.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night. Richard, come
Thank
see
you
me
all.
tomorrow.
Thank you for all your work.
Thank you, Kevin. Where are you? You're moving too fast. Oh, you're gone.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Good night, Jay.